Not sure, but I think when I hit that button that I go live, I think. It says receiving your content. You are live. The internet can totally see you now. To stop, use your encoder. Okay, cool. Let's watch a video. Or a couple of videos. But let's watch this one first. It's a good one. Okay, that could go on for a while, but let me, okay, what was I, where was I? I'm still trying to figure this out, how YouTube works. They have so many different ways that you can go live or stream or whatever, that it's ridiculous. They've got way too many ways. So I'm just like trying every single different way and seeing if it works, but hopefully everything's working. Testing. Yeah, it looks like it's working, hopefully. We'll find out. Let's see here. Alright, Beulah's in here. DOC Michael, how you doing? I'm gonna give you a wrench, cause I like the blue wrenches in there. Okay, it's looking good. Cool. Yeah, I can watch the chat here. I think. Well, I started a watch page, so that's what I'm doing now. That's awesome. So, do you guys want to hear? Well, do you want? Okay. People are triggered. Yeah, I noticed that. Is it Doc Michael? Is it DOC or what? But I noticed that I've noticed. I've seen your name a lot of channels. A lot of them. Today I think I did. Or maybe that was yesterday. Richie and Photo Helix. That's who it was. Yeah. There's another channel that I listened to her talking today. I think it's Maryland Spirit Level. Gmail, I think. Something like that. Oh, what? Yeah, that was weird, huh? I think what happens is when I go into OBS, if I start streaming, like, I don't know if I have it like set up wrong, but if I start streaming, it automatically puts me live on YouTube somehow. So that's how I was going twice, because I was going off the webcam on YouTube and I don't know why they have that set up that way. I guess it's so everybody can, like, to be universal or whatever. Yeah, I listened to a video that Marilyn, if that's her name, I'm assuming that, that she made. I don't know, it might have been a week ago, but it was about salvation and what the truth that's been revealed to us. And I liked what she was saying, because she's like, the way that I see this is different than other people, and it gets them triggered. But I don't care. I mean, I'm not saying I don't care about other people. I'm saying that I don't care how people react to something that I find in here, because this is like this is the judge. This is the truth. That it's where all the answers are. Yeah, biblical cosmology. Me too. And you know what? I'm going to talk about that for a second. Okay, you know how people say, "Oh, you don't have to believe in flat Earth to be a Christian," and I would say that makes sense. That sounds right. But in the Bible, this is the scary part for all the people that feel that way. Like I've heard Kent Hovind, just for an example, I've heard him say, even if it was true, what would it matter? What difference would it make? And I'm saying to myself, well, if it's true, that means the Bible's true. That's the way I see it. And then he says, well, that camp or whatever, they see it a different way in the Bible. But they're seeing it their way. Because all of us saw it their way also. Hey, Tom Buddhas. And we believe something else. We believe something else. That's the important part. And actually, Jesus told us that this would happen. He told us that we would have to do these things, and that the people would hate us. And I'm just gonna go read a couple things in Matthew, because he, when he said in Matthew 24, when he said, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all nations as a witness, and then shall the end come." Hey, Erickson here. What's up, bro? Flat Earth is New Jerusalem. Yes, it is why it matters. Good point. Flat Earth News. He says, truth is the bridegroom, New Jerusalem, the bride. That's why it matters. And that's such a good point, because people always kind of attack me on Facebook and I just leave them up there. Hey, buddy. My kitty's just walked in. Come here. And that people get triggered at me or whatever by what here's what I put on Facebook. Flat Earth is the promised land. Okay? If there's another kind of land that's promised, okay, well, actually, before we go in Matthew, let me read a few verses about Abraham and what faith is. In Hebrews, Hebrews. Eric brought this one to my attention, I don't know, a few months back, and it's just powerful, because it talks about flat Earth in a way. It's kind of neat. Hebrews 11:8-10. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. Hey, Daniel Labosier, I think that's maybe how you say that. How you doing? Good to see you in here. But not knowing whither he went, that's faith. That he went, but he didn't know where he was going. By faith, he sojourned in a land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. Okay, listen to this verse. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God. I think I was just in Psalm. There was a good verse. I don't remember which chapter it was, though, so I might not be able to find it right away. But this city, it is awesome scripture. Bad news, Flat Earth British was hacked and Baltard Vids have replaced his... Oh, that's lame. You know what? It seems like that kind of stuff is happening a lot, where I think there's a lot of... Oh, you know what it is? It's fear. It's fear. And I can just say that because Ezra saw that in a vision. He said, the whole world is going to be gathered against Jerusalem. Well, what Eric's been saying, what Flat Earth is New Jerusalem's channel, what he's been saying for a long time, look at the channel name. Flat Earth is New Jerusalem. And think about this. Like, I don't know how, like, I'm not saying that the knowledge that we know that Earth is not a ball is New Jerusalem. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the land that's been hidden, the promised land that's been hidden, kept secret, is starting to become visible. And we're seeing it. So I think it's the promised land. I think it's, well, and here's another aspect. Where did it come from? Anybody that had an experience like I did in the last few years knows where it came from. It came down from heaven. I'm saying that the truth came down from heaven. And so when people are talking about salvation or whatever, and that Marilyn, she made a good point. She said, first of all, nobody knows. Nobody cares. We don't know. Because, like, if someone says, do you have to believe flat earth to be sick? It like, that's a ridiculous question to ask, because nobody, oh yeah, yep, I'm the official on that. Like, no, God's the official on that. He makes those calls. So it's not really our position to be trying to set some kind of rules about being saved or about being washed in Jesus's blood. Do you know what I mean? I think Jesus was clear when he said, abide in me and my words in you. Like, he's the word of God. He's the, okay, and she made other good points too. I'm restating her points because they're really important ones. In the beginning, what did God do? He created. So if we don't believe in what he created, do we believe in him at all? I mean, even if people want to, like, you know what I mean? Hey, Hustle Man, how you doing? Christians that believe in the spinning ball because of science, but then reject evolution in the face of that so-called science make me crazy. Yeah, they make me crazy too. And you know what? And I'm going to apply this to Revelation, because people hate it when I do this, but we're living out this book of Revelation. So when I say that, get triggered, get frustrated, whatever, I don't care. We're living it out, and I can see it. So I have to say it. Revelation 14. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Now, I'm not trying to say about redeemed from the earth, I don't know. But I am trying to say that we are clearly singing a song that the world has, something that, okay, they can't see it the way that we can see it, but they can read it and believe it. And I'm going to compare this with Doubting Thomas, because my mind always goes right there when he's like, he was the only one of the, I think the only one, but the only one of the disciples that wasn't there that first time when Jesus was there after the resurrection. And so they were telling Thomas, and Thomas is like, no way, nope, I'm not, you guys are full of it. Hey, Iger Television, how you doing? I'm trying to make sure that I see everyone. But what was I just saying about? I just totally lost. I always do that. I look at the chat and then I forget what I was saying. I totally lost it. Okay, we're singing a new song. That's what I'm getting at. We're singing a new song, and that was probably way off of where the subject is. But okay, do you believe that there is an end? Like, hey, Matthew Baxter. Thank you, Matthew Baxter. Doubting Thomas, and thank you, DOC. Okay, Doubting Thomas, think about this, you guys. He's like, no way. And I'm like, I find myself probably relating with Thomas, being like, all these people that I trust, these brothers of mine, these other disciples. I know them, but I don't know, man. Like that's what I'm sure Thomas was just like, yeah, I'll wait to see. I want to stick my hand in, or my fingers in the holes in his hands, and I want to stick my hand in his side. Then I'll believe. And then when it actually came down to the moment when Thomas and Jesus were both there in the same time, and it was like Thomas was like immediately, he's like, "Oh Lord, I believe," like, because I think he knew it, but it's still hard to believe. But that's where okay, flat Earth, just the subject of flat Earth itself is really not important at all. But what the important part about it is it's what God declared at the very beginning to make this whole world we live in. Like he spoke it at the beginning out of his mouth. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And then he spoke things and created for 6 days. So, like, I don't think any of us doubt that now. Like, because I think he clearly showed us something that the world hadn't seen before, and I think we're seeing that right now. I'm gonna check up on a couple of comments really quick. Quick question: what do you use to do live streams now that Hangouts is not done? I want to do more live streams. Jesus is King. God bless you. Thank you. And yes, Jesus is King. I'm using OBS, and it was I think it was free download. I'm using the 32. I don't know exactly what I'm using, but it's really nice actually. Like it's really nice. You can record videos with it, and there's a lot you can do with it. The other software I'm using, like to make videos, like the one I got in the background here, like with some animation stuff, I paid $50 for it, and it's called Sparko Cam, and you can go to their site and download it for free, and you can test out every feature on it. It just has a big, huge watermark until you pay for it. But it's nice because you can test it out to see if you like it first too. And so that's Sparko Cam, SPARKOCAM, and it's a corny, like sounding name and logo, and it looks really. It's like terrible marketing, but it's a great program. I like it a lot. Oh yeah, the screen share is really easy on there. And actually, I can show you really quick what I got to do. Let's see here. So I'll show you the actual program really quick, just because it's really simple. Well, I can't say it's simple. I'm still learning it, and I've been using it for probably over half a year. So it's like not simple, but okay, let's see. What do I do? Okay, I'm there. Desktop. There we go. So that's what the program looks like. And there's so much you can do. There's so much you can do. Like I can add a video. I can add a car in space if I want. Or another one. Like there's a lot you can do, and it's really great. I like it a lot. So now that I was showing you that a little bit, but it's called Sparko Cam right up here in the corner. Sparko Cam, and I'm very happy with $50. Can't complain. So back to video. Let's see. I kind of like that background because the burn proof is on the globe. Sorry, Globers. We walk on a flat Earth every day. You show us where it goes upside down, because we've never found that. No one's ever found it. Even the people in Australia right now haven't found it. So let's see. I'm gonna go into the chat really quick. OBS Spark. Yeah. Instead of Sparkle, it's SPARKOCAM. But yeah. Hey, Eyes to See, how you doing? Okay, so I like the Doubting Thomas thing. Do you guys get what I'm saying about that? Whereas, like, I'll use I don't want to use an actual person for an example because it's like not it. That's not what I'm trying to do. But like a person that didn't see flat Earth, like in 2015 or like around there, and like a person that wasn't inspired to like go out and just put themselves out in front of everybody and say, hey, you guys, the earth is flat. Like, that's just not a really cool thing to say. But if the people that didn't do that, but they heard about it, and they're like, what are these people talking about? You know, what are these, why are they saying the earth's flat, and why are they saying that it's in the Bible? Well, a Christian, like I would consider someone that believes in Jesus, someone that Beulah says, I didn't see it until last year. Okay, Beulah might be a great example. Like, for me, and I'm not trying to put anybody on a pedestal or anything. I think that's not the point of anything that I do. But what Beulah just said, it's really interesting because what if there's 144,000 people in Revelation that get sealed in their forehead, like God puts a seal on them, and then like what Jesus said in like John 15, let me read 2 verses really quick. I don't want to get off of my subject, but when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me, and ye also shall bear witness, because you've been with me from the beginning. What's he talking about there? Bearing witness. What are we bearing witness to? Like, it's pretty obvious to me. I got woke with visions and paintings, then Revelation 12, then flat earth. That's awesome, because that's really the Revelation 12 and flat earth were really changed me a lot. Yeah, you are welcome. I see everyone is. I love hanging out with you guys in the chat. I don't do that enough. Okay, so what, like, I think we're bearing witness to something. So to me that says, and I've been saying this to a lot of people, you know, when it says the command or the law goeth forth from Mount Zion. DR Lee, bro, what's up? Good to see you, man. You know, the law goes forth from Mount Zion, or forth out of Mount Zion. And what I think that means is I think that we were the people who were showed this, like, just for me, I could probably speak for a lot of people in here. We see something so clearly that we didn't see before. And I think if it's something that he put in you and like made you see it, then I think you know that. But at the same time, that's probably why you're outspoken about it. So I think there's 144,000 people that got sealed in their forehead with truth that's unmistakable. And then in Revelation, you guys, this is the part that is like, at first, when I first started trying to understand what was happening, it was discouraging to me when I would read this. But in that same chapter, listen what he says. He says, where is it? It might take me a second to find it. He saw something in heaven that it says that something happened, because there's way more than 144,000 people that overcame. So to me, that's like a hey, Michael Musco. To me, that's a big deal. I gotta find it because I just don't remember where, or maybe that was in Revelation 7, maybe when they got sealed is after they got sealed, maybe. I can't remember. Yeah, verse 9. Okay, after the tribes got sealed, the 12 tribes in Revelation 7, they got sealed with the seal of the living God in their foreheads. Then it says in verse 9, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. Like, think of this literally. We're saying that out loud. We're saying, glory to God, who's actually sitting on his throne. Because that's what we believe. That's what I believe. That's what probably most of the people in the chat, or maybe, I don't know. It's something we believe. So we repented from an old belief. We changed our thinking and turned it around into. I'm not saying that we're responsible for this. It's God that's doing all these things. He's trying to save this world from a state of being fallen away from him, where he had to turn his face from us. Yeah, eyes to see. I like that too. Enoch, he saw everything, like the treasuries of the winds. That's a fascinating thing to me, like the firmament and all the. I don't know. I still don't understand how any of that is. I don't know if we're supposed to, but I do know that the four winds, like in this we're in that chapter already in Revelation 7. The four winds, they're gonna hurt the earth, but there's angels holding them. So what I believe is that when they send the rockets up there and it makes all this, let me get something in the background just to show you what I'm talking about. It might take me a second. My computer's sped up a little bit because I was making a video and that video's done. Oh well, we'll see. Oh yeah, it does look like it's sped up a little bit. That's good. Just this right here. I'm just you've seen it before. Okay, those gases spreading out like that. I don't understand really what's happening, but I do know that there's a clash happening, because there's celestial and terrestrial, like where there's air and water and birds and food and life and rocks and trees and all the things that we have that are material and physical. There's an ending to that. And I don't understand the it's not a world, like it's heaven. So I don't understand how that all works. Like there's angels have bodies, and I don't understand that. Like they shine like the sun. Jesus, the Son of Man, shines like the sun, and I don't understand that. It's something that I don't know if we can quite grasp it. But what they're doing here is they're whatever they're doing physically, I don't know. Like they obviously are launching rockets or whatever. But what's happening up there is more than the physical things we're seeing. It's a battle happening, and I think it's these four winds, or the angels that are holding back the four winds, because the one angel, he's like, or I'll just read it. And after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt this earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And then there was 144,000 sealed. That's what I think is happening now. Like I believe these people have been sealed, and that they have been giving their testimony. Because here's another aspect of this. Revelation 11. There's the two witnesses that are standing before God. Well, and I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. I think that I know what that means, because I think that those 144,000 that got sealed, that they are they're not those same two witnesses, but the two witnesses are prophesying to them by the Spirit of God that proceeds from the Father. Because we just read that in John. And Jesus said, when the Spirit of truth is come, he will guide you into all truth. And he shall not speak of himself, but that whatsoever he hear or shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. Well, that is, I think, why, there's a lot of people, I don't know how many people in the last few years that I've talked to that have had very similar dreams of stars falling and things like that, or visions or whatever. But and then John in Revelation, he obviously had a dream, and Jesus told us the stars are going to fall from the sky, and the powers of the heaven will be shaken. The powers of the heaven will be shaken, and the sky will roll back like a scroll, and the sign of the Son of Man will appear, and then everybody's going to freak out and hide under the ground, like go into caves. Crazy. Okay, so the beast that comes up from the bottomless pit, I'm not going to start talking about the beast, but just for a minute. Okay, it comes up out of the bottomless pit and it kills those two witnesses. Okay, here's my example story of that happening. Hey, man, do you know the earth is not a ball? Like, we've been looking, and it's not a ball, it's flat. No, you're wrong. It has to be a ball, because otherwise, how could the space station orbit it? You can see it with your own eyes. Okay, let me read you another verse in Revelation 17 really quick. Okay, you can see it with your own eyes as it flies over. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of the life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. You can see it with your own eyes. It keeps people from believing in the truth. So that's I just see that. I just see that happening. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. And this is how it puts a smile on my face and makes me laugh, because it's funny when it says, where is it? It's funny when it says this, even though it's not really funny, but it cracks me up every time. Every time I read it. Where is it? When it says, okay, yeah, verse 10, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them. This is after their bodies are laying dead in the street of the great city. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts to one another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. Okay, so why would I say that have anything to do with those two prophets? It's because of the prophet Isaiah said it. So I'll show you where. Sorry about, it's probably not funny, but it is, to me, it is funny because of all the ridicule I get. People will be sending themselves gifts, thank God, thank goodness, they'll be jumping up and down. They kind of are. I think it's funny. Which verse was I looking for? 43? Isaiah 43. Oh, I forgot exactly where I was going with that. We are his witnesses. Where is that? Oh, Isaiah 43. So I'm going to read starting in verse 6. And this is obviously, Isaiah started out this chapter. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. Okay, that's how it starts out. Verse 6, I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. I'm sick of this thing in the background. Sorry. I just got to get rid of it. We're going back to this one. Okay. Sorry about that. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Everyone that is, or even everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. Let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this and show us former things? Question mark. Who can do it? And it says, let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, it is truth. Isn't that like what's happening? And then it says in verse 10, ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am the Lord, and beside me there is no Savior. I have declared and have saved and have showed when there was no strange God among you. Therefore ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, that I am God. And I could go on because it's good stuff. But one other verse. So he says, who among them can declare the former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses. And then guess what the former things are? Here. They're what he spoke out of his mouth at the beginning. I'll show you that right here in Isaiah 48, verse 3. I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them. I did them suddenly, and they came to pass. Oh, and then it even says that he's showing us hidden things that we didn't know. I'll read some of these. This is verse 4. Isaiah chapter 48. Because I knew that thou art obstinate, and thy neck is an iron sinew, and thy brow brass. I have even from the beginning declared it to thee. Like, from the beginning. He's, let there be light. Like, this is just so literal. Like, to me, this is just so, like, we're supposed to be declaring, like, obviously we've been doing this for a little time. So we're supposed to be declaring the former things, and then that could be a lot of things, right? No, it's the things he spoke out of his mouth the first 6 days. Or 7 days, whatever you want to call it. I'll keep going. I've declared it to thee before it came to pass. I showed it thee, lest thou shouldst say, mine idol hath done them. My graven image and my molten image hath commanded them. That's the Big Bang. He's saying that we're going to say that. We're going to say our graven image and our molten image hath commanded them. Like, thou hast heard, see all this, and will ye not declare it? I have showed thee new things from this time, even hidden things, and thou didst not know them. They are created now and not from the beginning. I don't know what that means. Even before the day when thou heardest them not, lest thou shouldst say, behold, I knew them. Yea, thou heardest not, yea, thou knewest not, yea, from that time that thine ear was not opened, for I knew that thou wouldest deal very treacherously, and wast called a transgressor from the womb. Like, we're all like that. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. That means, we all know what that means. That means that he's a God of mercy, and he is a forgiving God. So back to what I was saying about doubting Thomas. If you are a person that is like, this flat earth thing is ridiculous, this is ridiculous, but if you don't understand why we're saying it, then look to Genesis chapter 1 and study it. Like, study it, make a picture in your mind of what God's making as he speaks it. So he says, let there be light. So if you do that, you start thinking, okay, well, he says, let there be light. and there was light, and then all this stuff happened, and all this other stuff happened. Then, like a few days later, he said, he created the sun and the moon and the stars. So, light, daylight, whatever. What I'm trying to say is, it's a different world than we knew existed, because in our comprehension up until a few years ago. So that's why I'm saying I think it's revealed. Hey, Beck from Oz, how you doing? Australia, I knew we'd get someone down over. I'm just kidding. I just think it's so ridiculous. Every day that happens, it's so much more ridiculous that we actually could be deceived on that level as an entire world of people. And then those of us who can see the deception, we can see how strong it is from other people. Awesome. Yeah, DOC Michael, and that's what I like it when people aren't afraid to admit that. I'm in the same boat. I'm not at all a person. Hey, Calvin Eversole, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, there's a lot about the Bible has a lot to say. Cool. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Oh, I should look into the sign of Jonah. Oh, you okay? I see what you're saying. It's a party. Yeah, space being the bottomless pit. I can show you that in the scriptures. Let me do a screen share here. Uh-oh. I hope I hit the right button. There we go. It should be right. All right, let's look at. Well, first of all, let's look at Enoch, because that's how I learned it. About. Whoops. I don't know what I just did there. It was Enoch 18. It's like I'm always in this chapter, but it's because it's just such an odd thing. As far as what I never would have expected to hear some of these things being said, but he's describing he sees a flaming fire, and he was looking at some 7 mountains of magnificent stones, and I'm not exactly sure what all that is, but some of this is really clear though. And I saw a flaming fire, and beyond these mountains is a region, the end of the great earth. There the heavens were completed. So that could probably be two things. It could be if it was like a dome that touched like the edge, because someone pointed out Enoch did see in a vision, he did see the flood happen, and he saw a container being overflowed with water. He literally saw a container filling up with water, and I can't remember exactly the word he used. Maybe it was a container or a vessel, or it like whatever he saw the flood happen. But so if it would be the ends of heaven and earth, I wouldn't understand how stars would be there. And okay, so the end of the great earth, there the heavens were completed. So it could be that, or it could just be the end of the air, and then the beginning of the heavens or whatever. If you get what I'm saying, where the firmament touches where the physical material world is, like the dividing point or whatever. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike towards the height and towards the depth. And beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of heaven above, no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, no birds, and astronauts were crawling all over the place. I'm just kidding. I made that part up. But it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth, and this has become a prison for the stars in the host of heaven." And the reason why is because the stars were Well, I'll just read it. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. I suppose I was in the way of that. But so those 7 stars that didn't obey God, and he bound them on their disobedient orbit or whatever. Like they what does it say? How does it word it? They transgressed the commandment of the Lord and at the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. So that's why the 7 planets have their own orbits. They don't go with the other stars. Like they do their own thing. And it's significant because it's literally what let's see here, how would I get to 1 John 2 in Bible Hub. I just want to show you that this is who we struggle against, the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's space. I mean, that's the literal meaning of darkness. I don't mean there's not evil that we could call darkness too, but let's look at this really quick, and then I think verse 26, or actually I want to look at the Greek. Uh-oh, what happened? Something unplugged. Could be my phone. I'm not going to mess with it. Let's see. Okay. 2 verse 26. These things I have written to you concerning those leading astray you. The King James Version, I think it says, oh boy, what is this? Oh, my phone turned off and then turned on. Okay, that makes sense then. Apple. Okay, it says, concerning them who seduce you. Well, look at this word as planeo, I think. 4105 in Strong's. Planeo. Look at this. To cause, to wander. To wander. Lead astray, deceive, cause to wander. Look at this. 4105. This is Helps Word Studies. It says 4105 planeo is the root of the English term planet, wandering body. So it's not even like this could be this or this could be this. It's just the planets are deceiving spirits, like they're deceiving angels or stars. And then in this Enoch, see what happened is this has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. So that where those planets are, it's a prison. And I mean, that doesn't necessarily say that it's the abode of the, like, it doesn't say that it's hell, but it tells who's there. And that's important because look at this in Enoch chapter, the very next chapter. So he just explained to him that this was a prison for the stars and the host of heaven, and that those planets were bound there because they didn't obey God. And then Uriel said to me, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits assuming many different forms are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of." This is the Genesis 6 angels. Having connected themselves with women, they're in there too. And actually, the reason why we know that, we can kind of go backwards to Enoch 10, and we can find out that they were led off to that abyss after they were buried in the earth for 70 generations. Which is... I've gone over this a lot, but I actually have a video that I'm putting out to try to clear it up a little better, even yet. I was watching God Rules, had a video with Rob Skiba's video, and they're talking about the Watchers being released, and I'm like, I understand where they're going with it, it makes sense, but the they're going on verse 12. Oh, excuse me. They're going on verse 12 where it says that that they have a judgment of 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, but then it says that there's another judgment after that's consummated, and it says, "In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire," which we just read about in chapter 18, "and to the torment and the prison." So that backs it up again. That's a prison, "in which they shall be confined forever." So they're still in that prison right now, and they have a different kind of influence from there. They have a strong influence from there. But look what it's done. It's basically that what they want to do is they want us to excuse me. They want us to explore space because that's how they can break out of their prison. And that's what makes the end of the world happen. When that darkness will be thrown down here. That's just such an important thing. Okay, there's Babylon the Great, which is also a prison for fallen angels, which we should look at really quick. And Revelation 18 says that. So what I'm trying to say is, like, some of this stuff is revealed really clearly. So if we forget all the doctrines of men and we start fresh from like more of a recent, I'll say a recent state of thinking or studying or whatever, because it's different than it was before. We can understand these scriptures now because things have actually manifested that show us, oh wow, that's what that was talking about. Like this right here. In verse 2 it says, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird." So if Babylon the Great, that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth, if that's up there, and if it's space, and it's a big deception, what's really up there in that darkness, you guys? We know what's up there. We have faith that it's up there. We're sojourners here, looking for a city which hath foundations that's going to come down from there. What I'm saying is that there's a battle between Zion and Babylon up there. And it's like a spiritual battle. It's on what people believe. And at the same time, it's the physical reality of the world too. Like, the truth is really important, because the truth is that God's throne is up there, and that every satellite that they put up there or say they put up there is just another abomination defiling God's tabernacle. His heaven, New Jerusalem. That's his temple. That's God's sanctuary. And NASA sends the shuttle up there. It's that's what I was saying in a video that I'll upload it later. But it's talking about it's like kind of a study into the fallen angels, where they are. And there's things like this, 2 Peter 2, this doesn't necessarily say that the bottomless pit is hell and that it's up in the firmament. This doesn't say all these things, but if you put some of these together, look what it says in verse 4. Okay, we were just reading about those angels, and they're the ones that left their first estate. They came down and connected themselves with women, and they're imprisoned in that prison, okay? And check this out, what it says. "For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness," well, darkness, "to be reserved unto judgment." I'm just saying that it's a prison for fallen angels at the very bottom. But, like, right above that, or I'm not saying necessarily physically, but the actual thing that's there is a city prepared and built. Let me show you something in 2nd Esdras. uh, is it 10 or 9? I think it's 10. Um, Ezra's like, I think I started this. I started saying this, and then I never finished the story. But so Ezra's sitting there, and this woman. Long story. She comes out, and she had just lost her son, and she was like mourning, and she wanted to die in this field, um, uh, because of her son dying and whatever. Um, and it's kind of another one of these things where it's kind of funny, but it's not. But it kind of makes me chuckle a little bit, thinking of how Ezra must have like just think of the look on Ezra's face. Let me find out. Okay, yeah, right here. So he's talking to this woman. He's kind of rebuking her, saying like, "No, like mourn for Zion, not for," or yeah. I'll just start. I'm just gonna start in like verse 23 or something. Let's see. Yeah, it'll be good enough. Okay. And worst of all, the seal of Zion has been deprived of its glory and given over into the hands of those that hate us. Therefore, shake off your great sadness. And this is Ezra telling this woman to, like, don't be sorrowful this way or whatever. He said, and lay aside your many sorrows so that the mighty one may be merciful to you again, and the Most High may give you rest, a respite from your troubles. And then he says, while I was talking to her, her face suddenly began to shine exceedingly. Her countenance flashed like lightning, so that I was too frightened to approach her, and my heart was terrified. While I was wondering what this meant, she suddenly uttered a loud and fearful cry, so that the earth shook at the sound. When I looked up, the woman was no longer visible to me, but a city was being built, and a place of huge foundations showed itself. I was afraid and cried with a loud voice and said, "Where's the angel Uriel who came to me at first?" For it was he who brought me into this overpowering bewilderment. My end has become corruption, and my prayer a reproach. Like he flips out. He's like, I've had enough. Because he's talking to this woman, and then all of a sudden she like starts to flash and lightning, and then next thing he knows, he's like looking at the city. And then what does Uriel do? Uriel tells him, go in and look and see as long as your eyes can see. Go look. While I was speaking these words, the angel who had come to me at first came to me, and when he saw me lying there like a corpse, deprived of my understanding, he grasped my right hand and strengthened me and set me on my feet and said to me, "What is the matter with you? Why are you troubled? And why is your understanding and the thoughts of your mind troubled?" I said, "It was because you abandoned me. I did as you directed and went out into the field, and lo, what I have seen and can still see, I am unable to explain." He said, "Stand up like a man, and I will instruct you." I said, "Speak, my lord, only do not forsake me, so that I may not die before my time. For I have seen what I did not know, and I hear what I do not understand. Or is my mind deceived, and my soul dreaming? Now therefore I beg you to give your servant an explanation of this bewildering vision." He answered me and said, "Listen to me, and I will teach you and tell you about the things that you fear, for the Most High has revealed many secrets to you. He has seen your righteous conduct, and that you have sorrowed continually for your people and mourned greatly over Zion. This, therefore, is the meaning of the vision. The woman who appeared to you a little while ago, whom you saw mourning and whom you began to console, you do not now see the form of a woman, but there appeared to you a city being built. And who told you about the misfortune of her son? This is the interpretation. The woman whom you saw is Zion, which you now behold as a city being built. And as for telling you that she was barren for 30 years, the reason is that there were 3,000 years in the world before any offering was offered in it, and after 3,000 years Solomon built the city and offered offerings. Then it was that the barren woman bore a son. And as for her telling you that she brought him up with much care, that was the period of residence in Jerusalem. And as for her saying to you, my son died as he entered his wedding chamber, and that misfortune had overtaken her, this was the destruction that befell Jerusalem. So you saw her likeness, how she mourned for her son, and you began to console her for what had happened. For now the Most High, seeing that you are sincerely grieved and profoundly distressed for her, has shown you the brilliance of her glory and the loveliness of her beauty. Therefore I told you to remain in the field where no house had been built, for I knew that the Most High would reveal these things to you. Therefore I told you to go into the field where there was no foundation of any building, because no work of human construction could endure in a place where the city of the Most High was to be revealed. So this is what, like, the city being revealed. There's another verse in chapter 7 I'll go to in a minute. I just wanted to find out the place where he's like, go look. He's like, go see what you can see. Oh yeah, right here. It was the next verse. Therefore do not be afraid, and do not let your heart be terrified, but go in and see the splendor, or the vastness of the building, as far as it is possible for your eyes to see it, and afterward you will hear as much as your ears can hear. So he blessed the Most High, or yeah. You guys, let me just, one more verse in chapter 7, 7 verse 26. Says, for indeed the time will come when the signs that I have foretold you will come to pass, that the city that is now not seen shall appear, and the land that is now hidden shall be disclosed. What does that mean to you guys? I wasn't over in the chat for a while there. Sorry. Okay, there. Yeah, I mean, like, do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just I was behind on the comments, so they're kind of shooting by now. Am I doing a screen share? No? Okay. I am doing a screen share. I can't tell. I think I am. Am I? Yeah, I must be. Yeah, Second Esdras is awesome. I love that one. There's a couple more verses about land coming down from heaven. Well, there's a lot actually. Isaiah 40, when he says every valley shall be filled and every mountain and hill made low. There's another one in Zechariah. Flat Earth is New Jerusalem knows which verses that one is. The whole land will be made as a plain. Yes, I'm just checking out some comments. Okay, so in chapter 21 of Revelation, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. So I think this is actually, when he sees this, is actually after the 1,000-year reign of Christ here on earth. I'm not sure about that though. But and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven. Remember, the Spirit of truth proceeds from the Father. Just saying. Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. They're going to live in New Jerusalem. That's heaven. That's God's tabernacle, God's temple, his holy city, his holy mountain. New Jerusalem, Mount Zion, heaven. From the land over there. I like that. Okay, so why don't I do this? Here's what I'm going to do. for anyone who wants to stick around and hear not that, but it's this video called Not Released. I'm going to play it. I'm going to get myself out of here. Actually, I'm just going to take that out. Alright, let's see. Alright, it's got some people in it that we know, and I love these guys, but I'm still going to upload this video too, just as a video of its own. This is just such an important thing because you guys, right now, we have a body of Christ, or I don't want to, I'm not trying to, say who's who, but what I do know is that there's a mystery in Revelation that is written about, that it would be revealed to the saints. It's written all over in the Bible. Daniel said, the saints, they're going to take the kingdom. They're battling, they're at war to take the kingdom and dominion from who has it right now. And so we're involved in that war. I was saying the physical part, like the literal part of the war of the four winds and all that. It's so important to understand that this stuff is revealed in ways that they're so simple. Yeah, I can't. I'm just gonna play this video. It's like 15 minutes long or something. Or no, it's like 7 minutes long, I think. But I'm just gonna play it, and I think you guys will see the problem I'm seeing. And it's not like I'm trying to be Mr. Know-It-All. I'm trying to share what I understand, and it's like something that I did not get anywhere but from up there. Like it's written in here. It's written what happens, and everything is very specific even. So I'm gonna play the video. And if it gets, sometimes when I'm replaying the videos on this program, it skips. So if it stops for a second, that just means I paused it because it was getting buffering or something. But hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it isn't a problem. But we'll see. Sometimes it is a problem. Here we go. Okay, I have to make this because I'm convicted. Let's listen to Rob for a minute.
Part 7, has the stage been set for the return of the archons? What has been will be again, right? We see that. Solomon says that. Have the watchers been released? We saw in Enoch chapter 10, verse 12, and when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth till the day of their judgment.
Couple of good guys here. Adam's a good friend of mine, and I'm making this video for him and for Rob. So let's just listen to Adam for a minute here.
Out of all their dominion, and he bade us to bind them. This is again the angel when he talks about us. He bade us to bind them in the depths of the earth, and behold, they are bound in the midst of them and are kept separate. And this is what we read in 2 Peter and in Jude. It talks about how the angels that kept not their first estate were bound, right, in the depths of the earth, right, and this is very specific. It says this is where they were bound. There's some teachings out there, and there's some brothers near and dear to my heart that teach that they were bound up in the sky or in the firmament. But no, it's very specific. In the book of Enoch, it says that they were buried in the desert, which is called Dudael, I think, or Dudael. And here we see a confirmation with Jubilees. They were buried in the depths of the earth. And behold, they are bound in the midst of them and are kept separate.
Okay, verse 12 says, and when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth. Remember, Adam was pointing out in the depths of the earth. So he's right, and Rob is right. But the story in the scriptures and in Revelation and in Enoch right here in chapter 10, it goes differently than how you guys are portraying it. They weren't ever released. They're bound, and what we need to understand is just the next verse. Okay, so they were in the valleys of the earth for 70 generations, and then it says, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation. And then it says, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. So there's two judgments there. There's the 70 generations, and then there is the one that is forever and ever. In those days, they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever.
Happened at the end of the 1800s, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, going into the 1900s, very likely could be that their prison sentence is up.
In those days, they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. Okay, so where is this where it says here shall they stand? Where is that? That's in the previous chapter. It's up in the firmament, guys. Look, the angel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which transgress the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising. Those would be the wandering stars, the planets. Because they did not come forth at their appointed times, he was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. So this is where Enoch saw 7 stars like great burning mountains. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire. He saw the abyss up there. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. So then it's in the next chapter, like I just read, here shall stand the angels, the Genesis 6 angels. And they're going to assume many different forms and defile mankind. The desert in Dudael that Adam mentioned, that's just like Revelation 17, the wilderness. John went there. Whoops. It's a spiritual place. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. In the Greek that says he carried me away to the wilderness in the spirit. In the spirit. So, in the spirit. That's where the beast is. That's where the woman is. And the world is drunk from that city up there. There's a great city up there, guys. And it also is a prison. There's too many things that verify this clearly. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great, so that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth, is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. How many prisons for fallen angels does God have? I'm thinking I'm reading only about one, and it's called hell. 2 Peter 2 tells us this. There's a lot of verses that tell us, and I'm just going through some of them. We'll start at verse 4. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness. Enoch saw these chains being made. and they were huge, heavy chains to be reserved unto judgment. Okay, what version do we got? King James, okay. And the angels which kept not their first estate, these are the Genesis 6 angels, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness. Where's darkness? As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it in majesty, but they made the images of their abominations, and of their detestable things therein. Therefore I have set it far from them, and I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it. My face will I also turn from them, and they shall pollute my secret place. Where's God's secret place? God's real, you guys, and heaven is real, and it's really above us, and it's a real thing, I think. Yeah, he made darkness his secret place. Where's darkness? Ask the astronauts where darkness is, they'll tell you. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. Skies, guys. Okay? So what we have is we have astronauts and space people thinking they are climbing into heaven, just like in Jasher, that and all these people and all these families divided themselves in three parts. The first said, we will ascend into heaven and fight against him. The second said, we will ascend into heaven and place our own gods there and serve them. Huh. And I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it. My face will I also turn from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. The darkness he called night. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Raging waves of the sea foaming out of their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever.
As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it in majesty, but they made the images of their abominations and of their detestable things therein. Therefore have I set it far from them, and I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it, and they shall pollute it. My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. Wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. I will also make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none.
He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion, round about him were dark waters, and thick clouds of the skies.
My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, The same is a thief and a robber.
And they shall pollute my secret place, for the robber shall enter into it and defile it.
But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
This parable spake Jesus unto them. But they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then said Jesus unto them again,
Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture.